Come on. Hello, Mr. Graziani. How are you? Hello. So, has it been so long? It's been 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks because last week was a messed up week because of the holidays and vacation, and then we had a blizzard, which makes things even feel even longer. Um, all right, you know the drill. Mic check, video check. Hey, eat the chicken. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. We got eat the chicken on. AV check. How we doing? Oh, can't hear. Wait. Uh-oh. Really? All right. Sound. Now this is important. Hey Pookie. Hey Emo. How are you? We got eat the chicken. Hello, hello. Why in the world? Really? Pookie is a profanity? Yeah, I just got flagged for that. Your Pookie just got flagged for. Wow, that's weird. So if you say Pookie, it gets flagged as profanity. Strange. Anyway, hello. It's been six forever. Feels like forever because of holidays, blizzard. I'm Ming Chow, teaching professor at Tufts University, and this is Introduction to Security. So the original plan for today the original plan for today was we're going to go over SQL injection or SQL injection. The problem is the whole week got thrown off because of the blizzard. We had not one but two no school days. Hope you guys took advantage of that. But that's not a bad thing per se because the logical transition always has been um, we talk about Scapy, distributed denial of service. I think that was the last thing that. Oh no, we did password cracking. Yeah, we did Scapy, then password cracking. And then the logical transition would be to talk about vulnerability scanning. So I guess what happened in the last few days has not been a bad thing in terms of the schedule. Yeah, that is weird. Yeah. Huh. That's weird. Thanks, Karski. So, today hopefully won't be that long. Um, but there's two underlying messages of today. There's really two underlying messages which will be at the end. So, what's a vulnerability? I mean, by definition, what's a vulnerability? Anyone? Yeah, it's a weakness. It's a security weakness. Okay. So you're already familiar with what a vulnerability is, what CVEs are, what CWEs are. And I get this question a lot. Is how can I check if my computers or systems are vulnerable? That's the question. I get that all the time. How do I check if my computer systems are secure? They don't have any vulnerabilities. And that's the question. It seems really, really simple of a question. It's really, really simple. Sure, the answer is probably going to involve tools of some sort. Okay, so Captain, interestingly enough, what you said you need to hold on until the very end. Okay, so I'm gonna cut to the chase. today. Okay, let's talk about the ways that you can scan computer systems for vulnerabilities. Let's do that first. Let's talk about the options. Let's talk about option number one, the most famous option of them all. The most famous option of them all is to use a tool called Nessus. Nessus is now a commercial tool by Tenable Security. Go to Tenable.com. They're one of the biggest cybersecurity companies around, and their most famous product is Nessus. I mean, Tenable make boatloads of money from Nessus. Here it is. Nessus has been around for years, for decades. This is a commercial product, okay? This is a commercial product, but wait a minute. Why am I actually talking about a commercial product to start off? Well, you see, back in the early 2000s, Nessus was actually open source. Yeah, Nessus was open source. It's still one of the most famous tools around. So Nessus was created by Renaud, and it was a free scanner. And then in 2005, Nessus went from new general public license to a proprietary license. But you know how things work in technology and tech is first to the market wins. Okay? So Nessus has been around for a very long time, and that network effect has certainly helped. And so Purple Soul Crystal, okay, yes, it did get forked. I'll mention that. Now, I have a lot of friends that work at Tenable, and still do, okay? And they've been pretty supportive of the cybersecurity community for all these years. They have a program called Tenable Nessus for Education. I'll post a link. Yeah, they did fork it. Okay, so here it is. You get free access to Tenable Nessus for Education. The biggest companies in the world use Nessus, and you'll see why, largely for compliance purposes. This is what I have installed at home. So you register for free access to Nessus Plus Essentials. It used to be like oh shit. It used to be entering a first name, last name, and email address. You can put any first name and last name that you want. Damn. They changed that now. They literally changed that. I mean, it was just a few months ago. I just got a register an activation code. Okay, so here is how it looks. So you go through the process. It's platform independent. It is really heavy. So this is why Purple Soul Crystal, your point becomes really important. Tenable downloads. Where's the download page? Okay, so here it is. Here's a downloads page. It's platform independent. Okay, so it contains both the server and the client. So it takes a little bit of time to install everything for Nessus. But once you have Nessus installed, I have it on the server at home. What you need to do is fire up your favorite web browser. You go to the URL, and Nessus, the server, is at, I have a Kali Linux box. The port number is 8834. And it can't be HTTP, it needs to be HTTPS. Okay. Go to HTTPS. Go to advanced. Yeah. Alright, so here it is. This is Nessus Essentials. Here we are. I'm going to log in, username, password, sign in. There we go. So this is how Nessus looks like. Now, the Essentials license, you can only scan up to a maximum of 16 unique IP addresses. 16 IP addresses. The paid commercial one, you have, much greater range, like many, many more IP addresses to a point where you can scan unlimited. Okay, so here we are. It's a pretty simple interface. There's a setting, but the scans. So what can we do here? Let's create a brand new scan. All right. So here's a brand new scan. Now it's like you open one door and you open 5 other different doors. Okay, you open up five different doors. So here are the options that we have. Um, so this actually ties in pretty nicely with reconnaissance as well. So there's the discovery scan, a simple scan to discover live hosts and open port. Basically, it's Nmap. Okay. There's also a ping-only discovery, a simple scan to discover live hosts with minimal network traffic. There's that option. We're really in for vulnerabilities. Now, this actually you have a lot of options here. We can do a basic network scan. It's a full system scan suitable for any host. You can scan one host, multiple computers or servers and hosts. The list goes on. Basic scan is just going to go through a dictionary of vulnerabilities, publicly known vulnerabilities. You can also scan for malware, do web application tests. You can do Active Directory scanner. Hey, look at this. Find AI, LLM, and machine learning related detections and vulnerabilities. You can do that as well. Sadly, there's a few scans that used to be here was attached to a really, really major vulnerabilities like shell shock. It's gone now. Okay, that's no longer an option. Cryptographic inventory you can probe for, and this is where the real moneymaker is. A real moneymaker is for compliance, for auditing purposes, and this is why so many companies and institutions use Nessus is for like payment cards that to comply with payment card industry. I mean, I think that's part of the policy. That's part of the written policy of PCI that you have to actually do vulnerability scanning, policy compliance audit. Okay, so what are we going to do? You know what we can do? Let's start off with host discovery. Let's do that. And I'm just going to call this February. My network did change, 2026. And I'm just going to do target from 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.255. That's it. So it's just going to run through the entire IPv4 space from 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.255. Hit the save. Let's trash the December ones. And now I'm just going to hit launch. So this is really what's really going to do. It's just going to run basically a glorified Nmap scan of my entire home network. You hit the run option here. It's fine. And, it could take like a few minutes to do. And now, look at that. If you actually click on the scan, even while it's running, you can see all the devices that are on my home network. Looks like 1.1 is my router, 1.3 is my Pi hole, 1.8 is, what the hell is one? Oh, that's my Proxmox server. 1.18 is my playground. That's my MAC address, my Mac. Oh, okay, so I'm on one Mac right now, so it detected both my wired and wireless. So I'm on 218. That's my Apple TV. I have a Kali Linux box. That's my iPad. That's my light bulb. Yes, I have one of those smart light bulbs at home. It detected that. Still running. It should stop anytime soon. So this is all it's going to do. It's just going to find all the devices on my home network. And this is just like live on this Twitch stream. And you can also see on the right, you can also note vulnerabilities, which I find very surprising because it's not going to find any vulnerability. Yeah, it shouldn't. Still running. The fuck is it running for? There's not that many stuff on my network. You may be wondering why this is important. This is important because you're going to use this. So you may be wondering, I'm scanning all the hosts on my home network. Can I actually wait? If you right now, if we're using Nessus to scan for all the stuff on your home network, can we just use this list and scan for all the vulnerabilities on all these IP addresses and all these devices on the network? And the answer is, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. And this thing should be stopping anytime soon. Bang, done. 2 minutes. Here you go. Today at 4:43, started at 4:43, stopped at 4:45. Fine. What's the next thing that we're gonna do? Well, the next thing that we're gonna do now, we have, yeah, this is stopped, right? Yep. These are all the devices on my home network. I have a Pi-hole. That's my 1.1 is my router. I use Verizon Fios, and I have a whole bunch of machines on my home network. How many is that? 12. I got 12. Now, can we find the vulnerabilities? Yep. You sure can. So one thing that you can do is you can click all of them. You can click on all the IP addresses, and you do more. No, you can click on all the IP addresses, and you can do, nope, can't export, can't report. I don't know what that is. So you got more, you got to create scan. So now what I'm going to do is now I've selected all the IP addresses, and you know what? I'm just going to do a full basic network scan. A full system scan suitable for any host. And you can see, because I selected all the IP addresses from my host scan, February 2026 phones. Live on Twitch. Okay. My targets are all here. That's all these are, we got 12 IP addresses, all listed on targets. I can enter in things like credentials, I can select plugins. I don't need to even do that. I'm just going to hit save. And now what I'm going to do is just launch the vulnerability scan. And this gets really interesting. And this is the part that is going to be really cool if you've never done one of these before. Okay? This is the real cool part, which is Nessus is going to find and identify the vulnerabilities on all those hosts. The key word is publicly known vulnerabilities. That's the key word. The key word is publicly known vulnerabilities. Nothing in host discovery, but we can actually check the February 2026 vuln scans right now. Let's take a look. Bang. Now we're actually starting to see, and this is going to take a while to run. So we have 9 hosts so far, and we have a whole bunch of vulnerabilities. We're going to let this run for a while. So now take a visual snapshot of this. Now you can see the vulnerabilities that are now being identified on the systems on my home network, along with their criticality. So you have, all right, here we go. It's going to keep running. We're going to actually go grab a couple, I don't know, we're going to come back to this. You can actually quit. You can actually go and like sign out and then come back to it, which is what I'm going to do. And it's still running. So you can do that, which is nice. So now, while this is running, I'm going to open up a new tab and I'm going to answer Purple Soul Crystal's question, did anyone fork it? The answer is yes. Like, I get it. I totally get why some people are just going to be like really uncomfortable. Like really uncomfortable with using closed source software. Like some people like me, I'm trying to move into the way like for the most part, like I very much like open source software. Um, you know, like especially with these days, with everything that's going on in tech and people are very skeptical of big tech. Like I get it. So the famous fork of Nessus is OpenVAS. Okay, OpenVAS is the direct fork of Nessus. It's the Open Vulnerability Assessment Scanner. Okay, OpenVAS is openvas.org. I don't have a version of this running. It's a fork of Nessus from 2005. Still being maintained and updated even up to this day. Um, if you go to their website, it's a full feature vulnerability scanner. Okay. Um, Authenticated, unauthenticated testing. Um, there's the documentation. There's like the source code is on GitHub. Yeah. The OpenVAS scanner is on GitHub. The installation instructions. So you may be wondering, is there a reason why I should be using one over the other? And the answer is, yeah, there is. I'll say two reasons why. Look at, they're both vulnerability scanners. Okay, they work very similarly. But one of the things I find that I have found about Nessus is that the interface is a lot nicer. The interface is a lot nicer. Um, so I guess what you pay for in terms of a commercial product, the support, the prettiness, how it looks good, how it's usable. I mean, the version of Nessus is pretty nice. It's really straightforward to use. I found in the past that OpenVAS may be a little more clunkier in the user interface, but underneath the hood it works the same damn way. Okay, scan your system, punch in an IP address or domain, it's going to go through a dictionary of vulnerabilities. Work the same way. The other thing I have found is there, like everyone knows Nessus, in terms of the name, the brand. So, you say, you know, yeah, we use Nessus too. It's one of those network effect things. It's like just, a lot of people, will say, oh yeah, GitHub? Yeah, that's, you know, yeah, that's more popular than GitLab. That's all you're getting out of it, but it's still a vulnerability scanner and they work the same way. Okay? So they work the same way. So up to you. Oh, this looks new. It is part of Kali Linux as well too. Um, so how we doing? There we go. Now we're seeing like critical and high. We're seeing high vulnerabilities. Can we do that? Yeah, 84. Well, a high vulner. What? Ruby Rack? What is this? Okay, so let's take a look at this vulnerability that we at Nessus found. What the hell was this? What's the 245 machine? Oh, that's on Kali Linux. That's on my Kali Linux server. What's the vulnerability? You can drill down. Okay, so here it is. Ruby Rack? Huh. You can see the severity, the ID, when it was published. Oh, this looks like really new. Huh. Space score 7.5. Does it have CVEs? Any CVEs? Yeah. They have CVSS scores. 7.5 is up there. It's not a 10. Oh, yeah, I have a CVE. Here we go. CVE 2026 22860. What vulnerability is this? Rack is a modular Ruby web server interface. Okay. That's the CVE details. Oh, path traversal, which we'll talk about in the next few weeks. Interesting. It's a solution. I don't even know where I got this from. See also the advisories. This is like the output, the proof, you know, that the vulnerability. Oh, yeah, Metasploit. Okay. Yeah, I found the. Okay, so I get it now. Okay, so this was found in Metasploit in this folder on the Kali Linux machine. Okay, got it. All right. Another medium vulnerability. There's a whole bunch of them. How about this one? SSL certificate cannot be trusted. Yeah, that is this one. When I go to remember when I went to https://cali:8834 and he's you get that certificate cannot be trusted. That's this vulnerability. Been very well known for a while. Okay. How are we doing now? If I can do oh, do I need to do that? Vulnerabilities. We still have a high. jQuery is used 6.1. That is on 192.16. Really? Fuck. Yeah. What the hell's on the 8080? Okay, that's Kippograph for monitoring. Yeah, that old version of this old version of jQuery is used for Kippograph, which I put in a Docker container. Okay, fine, fine. And the recommendation is to go update it. Go from 1.4.1 to 3.5.0, which I will not do. Thank you. No, I will not do that because I don't want to be finagling with the source anymore. Alright, so now you know about Nessus, you know about OpenVAS. Are there any other vulnerability scanners like this in the market? Tons and tons of them. Rapid7. Go to rapid7.com. Okay, Rapid7 is headquartered in Boston. Cybersecurity company, but one of their products, do they have Nexpose? They have exposure management, threat intel, vulnerability management. I believe it's Nexpose, right? Now it's called Insight VM. Vulnerability management, here it is. And this is for more for corporations. Why would one company want to use Rapid7 Insight VM over Nessus? Sometimes there are places that actually do they like one-stop shopping. If they're already using Rapid7 for consulting stuff, like for consulting, they'll just probably use Insight VM. This is not cheap. Yeah, I heard this is not cheap. Stop chasing vulnerabilities, eliminate them. Okay, they do scanning, endpoints. Alright. They're a whole boatload of stuff. But a lot of these vulnerability scanners, they look and smell the same thing. The output to reporting is a little different. Okay, so now where do we go? So now this is another big vulnerability scanner. Nmap can actually have a vulnerability scanner. Yeah, you actually can use vulnerability, you can actually use Nmap for vulnerability scanning. You already, a lot of folks already have Nmap installed. Oh. Okay, it looks like these are add-ons for Nmap. You can use scripts. You can use scripts in Nmap. Okay. I like Black Hill Security. I think there was a few students who actually tried to use this to break into the server, the honeypot, in lab number 3. I'll just copy this one. I'll share this with everyone here. Okay. So you can use even Nmap is a vulnerability scanning. You can use it for scanning by way of plugins and scripts. So, alright, that's nice. What else is out there? Believe it or not, quite a bit. There are vulnerability scanners that are tailored for things like mobile, for websites and web servers. There are also vulnerability scanners for specific software products. I'll give you an example. WordPress blogs, which we'll use for the capture the flag game. There is a tool called WP Scan. Now, WP Scan is a WordPress security scanner. It's free and open source. Yes, you can use WP Scan to not only find vulnerabilities, but also to brute force into a WordPress blog. Free and open source. It's written in Ruby. Here are your details. WP Scan is a friend for many people who do web development. Okay. Okay. Yes, you can actually use that define vulnerabilities in WordPress, and they have their own WordPress vulnerability database. And it's WPScan.com is the official website. Again, this can be a free. This is an open source tool. Yes. What you really pay for is a vulnerability scanning in a live dictionary, which there's a running joke among my friends is like there's a new vulnerability in WordPress like every other day. Okay. So there's WP Scan. You can also have vulnerability scanners for websites. Now, one of my favorite tools of all time, I love this tool so much because it's so dirt simple to use. It's called Nikto. Yeah, Nikto. Nikto. You might have seen Nikto in the alarm lab. Nikto. Nikto is a web server scanner. It is really fast, it's lightweight, it's terminal based, and it's a very old tool. Nikto was written like in the 2000s by Salo. It's open source. Here is the source code for Nikto. It's written in also a language called Perl. Perl is like the second coming of Voodoo. Like, it's one of those languages that was developed by system administrators. Just let me put it this way. Do you want to learn Perl these days? No. That used to be my jam writing interactive web application back in the days. Yeah, I was pretty good at writing spaghetti code. And the whole point of Nikto, what it does is just scan websites. That's it. So I'll show you how Nikto works. Okay, so I am going to remember HTTP colon 8080. I have a website here, not secure. Oh, why is it failing on me? Is it really? Oh, that sucks. Oh, never mind. I have a website at 192.168.1.18 colon 8080. So I have a website here. So I'm going to fire up my terminal. I'm going to SSH into Kali. There you go. And this has Kali Linux has all the security tools built in. Man, Nikto. Nikto. Scan web server for vulnerabilities. Okay. There's a lot of configuration options here. So I type in Nikto, not going to work. Just going to give you a whole bunch of options that you have to specify. No host specified. So what I do is Nikto minus host equals HTTP colon slash 192.168.1.18 colon 8080. Hit the run button. And that's it. That's hit the end. Bing! And then whee! Now you find a whole bunch of vulnerabilities. And that's it. A readme.md found. A license file found. These are the vulnerabilities. Really, like, it's noisy as hell. So underneath the hood, Nikto also has a dictionary of files to look for, like config.php. Does it config.php? Oh, yes. You can go verify it. Yeah, it looks like that there is. License.txt. I didn't know that until now. Yeah, there you go. That's not good. That's information. That's a lot of information revealed. Read me that. Yep, there it is. What else? Images? Really? There's an images folder revealed? Oh no. Hey, 8080. What's it? Images? Huh, interesting. What else? Does this work? I don't know what the hell that is. I guess not. I don't know why it got that. Ooh, interesting. Huh, interesting. There's a MISC folder? Oh, wait. I need to remove the S. Weird. Well, I'm learning a few things myself here. I didn't know any of these things exist. Interesting. Hey, while we're here, let me see if I can actually see if my side project actually is, if my side project has vulnerabilities. So, every week I get a list of domains of interest, fraudulent domains, and the legitimate ones. For example, let's say massgeneral.org, but we've been seeing like a lot of like fake URL, like the phishing URLs. I had Claude Code do this. Let's see if this works. And there we go. How good does Claude Codes work? Still going. While we're working on that, how's Nessus? Still running. Here we go. Lots of vulnerabilities, lots of medium ones. IP forwarding enabled. A lot of, yep, CVE 1999. Okay. SSL issues, medium. DHCP server detection. Is this 192.168.1.3? Yeah, that's my pie hole, buddy. So I'm not going to care about that. Notice that how I'm talking is that, yeah, there's some vulnerabilities I could really give a shit about. But yeah, it's like, you see the numbers now ballooned up to a 102.102. What the fuck is this running? Maybe I have too many things running. Okay. So now you've seen Nessus, you've seen OpenVAS, you've seen other vulnerability scanners, you've seen Nikto, you've seen WP Scan. Oh, here we go. Huh. Do I want to? Yeah, why not? I don't get that message very often anymore, but okay, fine. Alright, so now the Nessus scan is still running. We'll let this run. It could take a while to, find vulnerabilities on all 12 hosts right now. I don't know why I have failed. Oh, authorization failed. Well, okay, whatever. I'm going to show one more vulnerability scanning tool for a prelude for next week. Okay, there are so many vulnerability scanning tools out there. I think you're getting the message now. Oh. Yeah, update failed. Okay, whatever. There are so many vulnerability scanning tools out there. There's like hundreds and hundreds of them out there. Oh! Anyone here, I think I can also throw this in for filler. Anyone ever use Truffle Hog? Anyone ever use Truffle Hog here? Find, verify, and analyze leaked credentials. Great tool. This is the stuff. If you want to find like API keys, leak keys in your projects. Okay, so it can like actually see. It can find like keys, secrets in your projects. Truffle Hog is good because like if you find any type of secret, no bueno. API key, Postgres password, yeah, no bueno, no good. This is no. So here, this is a demonstration. You use Truffle Hog. Then find an an AWS key in one of your projects. You can find that. You can consider this a vulnerability scanner. So if you're doing any sort of code develop, like any sort of development work, and you're, you know, worried about secrets or keys being leaked out, Truffle Hog is awesome. Okay. Okay. So the one last tool I want to show you, and this is the one we'll use. This is a prelude for next week. It's called Burp. B-U-R-P. Burp Suite by my friends at Portswigger. Now, Burp Suite is also proprietary. It's also written in Java, but there's a community edition of Burp Suite. That's what we're not going to talk about today. Burp Suite is a web application security testing, and it does everything. Okay, portswigger.net. So you may be wondering, again, why are you showing a commercial tool? Is there a free and open source alternative? There is. The reason why Portswigger became Burp is because, again, it's a network effects, traction. If you're going to do web application security in any institution, any company, usually Burp Suite is the way, is the go-to tool. It's an annual subscription, but people swear by this. Now, the professional version of Burp Suite actually has a scanner built in. All you need to do is very much like what you do in Nikto. Type in the URL of a website or web application that you want to test. Hit run. It runs the test for you. Yeah, interesting. Microsoft uses it. Okay. Yeah, it has a scanner built in. So Burp has a scanner built in, so it will find like all the major vulnerabilities in web application. Just all you need to do, type in a URL, hit the enter key. But the caveat is it's only the paid version. Okay. So are we going to use Burp in this course? The answer is yes, but not the paid version. All right, we will use the community edition. We're going to use the manual proxy next week. So you may be wondering, okay, what is the free and open source? Is there a free and open source alternative to Portswigger Burp? It's OWASP Zap, the Z-Attack proxy. Has everything that you know of in Burp. Again, as I said earlier, I use Burp. Actually, I have it on this machine. Damn it. I have the community version. We're going to use this next week. Hit next. Start Burp. So how the scanner looks like, I think it should show the scanner, right? I can do a new scan. Yep, they tell me to upgrade. But what's really nice about Burp, it has an built-in web browser, so I don't have to do any like kind of configuration and all that stuff anymore. Discover. Test for vulnerabilities. We're gonna use next week the proxy to like intercept web requests. But yeah, the paid version have a one-click scanner, which is really nice. We're not going to use this. If you want the free and open source version, use Zap. Oh, it's by checkmark now. Okay, interesting. It's by checkmark. free and open source. The interface is not as nice, and it does not have a built. Oh wait, it does. It uses. I think it has built-in Firefox, but it's kind of clunky how it works. So this can also works as well too. So Burp, Zap, they're both. Yeah, try both of them. I mean, I've been using Burp for so long, and a lot of my plugins are for Burp. I just stay with Burp. So that's a vulnerability scanner. Okay, but next week we're going to use Burp for the web proxy, not for scanning. You want to try the scanner for Zap? Go for it. It's a bit noisy. It's going to get you back a lot of false positives. Okay, so now we're down to the end. So this is the underlying message. Okay, I got two underlying message of today. You've seen a lot of vulnerability scanners out there. Okay, you've seen there are many of them. These are some of the most popular and big names ones I've showed you. But here is the thing. The big thing to take away is actually it has everything to do with what Captain VPX had, Captain PVP, was it Captain PVPX? You said. Okay. Say, for example, that you run a Nessus scan against a system and have found no vulnerabilities. Nothing that is low, medium, high, or critical. Just info. That's it. Or so usually you find no vulnerabilities. Nothing. And it doesn't mean it's okay. So now the vulnerability scanner returns nothing. It says we have no vulnerabilities, only info. It doesn't mean you're secure at all. So I want to introduce you to what my mentor has preached for years. And my mentor is Gary McGraw. Gary McGraw. Do you have a Wikipedia? Gary McGraw. There he is. And his birthday was yesterday. I already wished him a happy birthday. So he founded Cigital. He did a podcast, but he's the father of software security. He's the father of software security. And that's Gary. That's him. He also has a band called the Bitter Liberals as well. That's him. That's Gary. Now, one of the things that he writes a lot about is this concept of a badness-o-meter. A badness-o-meter. And what a badness-o-meter is this. It's really easy to understand. In fact, I got to show you a picture. Here's what a badness-o-meter is. The picture is that. Okay. And the badness-o-meter goes like this. If you run a vulnerability scanning tool against a target or systems or whatever, and it finds vulnerabilities, especially like medium, high, critical vulnerabilities, you're in deep trouble. You're in deep trouble. I think we can agree on that. Vulnerability scanners have its value by telling you if you're in deep trouble or not. That's it. Vulnerability scanners use publicly known vulnerabilities. Publicly known vulnerabilities. That's why the software, the dictionaries are so big. So the value of a vulnerability scanning tool is to check if you're in deep trouble. Like, that's it. But even if a vulnerability scanning tool says that you have no vulnerabilities, you're safe, you're green, it doesn't mean you're secure. It really means who knows. Okay? And the point being is this. There are a lot of vulnerabilities that we don't even know about. There are probably hundreds of vulnerabilities in Windows, in Mac OS, and in Linux right now that we don't even know about. Okay, that the public doesn't know about. Do certain people know? Do certain countries know? Probably. You ever heard of something called 0 days before? Zero-day vulnerabilities are vulnerabilities that are not. Zero-day vulnerability is of security vulnerabilities that is unknown to developers and to the public, meaning that they have 0 days to fix it before they can be exploited by hackers. Okay? 0 day vulnerabilities are, let me tell you, unfriendly countries, governments, the underground love to collect these things because they can be weaponized. Alright, a 0 days an attack that exploits a software vulnerability that is unknown to the vendors and have no patch. Um, there's so many horror stories of 0 days. For example, um, the NSA had a horde of 0 day vulnerabilities, namely against Microsoft. And in 2017, you know, the NSA got breached, they got popped. And of course, their whole treasure trove of 0 day vulnerabilities was leaked out. And people were looking at it and were like, oh, wait a minute, there are these major vulnerabilities that we didn't know of. And Microsoft was like, yeah, this is not good. So they raced to like patch these, that Microsoft was like, oh, damn, this is not good at all. 0 days are dangerous. Like, these can be weaponized. Um, so, again, the Badness-O-Meter, security scanning tools like Nessus, they have its value to actually check if you're in deep trouble or not. But it doesn't mean that you're ever going to be, quote unquote, secure. Even if a vulnerability scanner tool returns, no vulnerabilities, it's really who knows. Because there's hundreds of vulnerabilities out there we don't know about. So vulnerability scanners are definitely not the end all be all, not by a long shot. And one more thing, the second message is this. This is the second message, and this is something that I need, this is one of those, okay, we're done. Okay, there are two types of things, there are two terminology that you got to know about. There's a vulnerability scan. Vulnerability scan does not equal pen testing. Okay, this is what I see a lot of snake oil cybersecurity consultants and companies do. This is a really important terminology difference, and which we still, even up to this day in 2026, talk about. There are two different things. A vulnerability scan is you use a tool like Nessus to just identify vulnerabilities that may be on a system. But here's the thing. Vulnerability scanners a lot of times do not prove that the vulnerabilities can be exploited. It can show you where the vulnerability is, it can show you vulnerable versions of software. But the whole point of a pen test, a penetration test, is to actually go and exploit the vulnerability. A vulnerability scan does not do that. A vulnerability scan is just going to be, think of it just a lookup table of known public vulnerabilities. A penetration test is that you actually have to take advantage of the vulnerability, break into the system, steal everything that you can. That's a pen test. So this is what we've seen for years, way too often. A lot of security companies and vendors in the past, especially in the past, what they did was they charged a client 50 grand for a pen test and a penetration test, and all they did was run an Nessus scan against the target, print the report, download the report, change the logo of the report to be something else, and hand it back to the client. Yeah, that was $50,000. Yeah, that was how it was. I mean, it's still a thing. I'm pretty sure it's still damn a thing up to this day. But a vulnerability scan is not the same as a pen test. A penetration test is that, yeah, we actually broke into the system. We breached the system. We got the credentials. Okay, we stole the confidential information in your system, on your system, or through your people. That's a pen test. A penetration test has to do the hands-on exploiting. Okay, they're not the same thing. So don't just print out like a Nessus scan and use that as a penetration testing report. No, a Nessus report like this won't actually show you, like, won't take advantage of the exploitation. Okay, let's say for example, all, which we'll do next week. 192.168.118 has a SQL injection vulnerability. Okay, weird. But the actual pen test, you actually have to leverage that SQL injection vulnerability, dump the millions of records in the database that's on the system, which Nessus will not do. That's the difference. So that's the three things that you've seen today: vulnerability scanning tools, the Badness-O-Meter, and the idea that a vulnerability scan is not the same as a pen test. And that's all for today, folks. Next week, we will actually do one of the oldest tricks in the book to dump databases, break into systems without password, SQL injection. Take care, folks. Yeah, that was fun. Yay. Technically, are you definitely in bad? Wait a minute. So technically, are you definitely in bad trouble or just potentially in bad trouble? I think right now for all of us is we are all in potentially bad trouble. Okay, we're not nothing like a 5 alarm fire. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, do I run vulnerability scans on my system? No. If I was in a corporation, different matter, because I was, because that part of a lot of agreements and compliances, but everything is vulnerable that we use. So you may be wondering, what do I do? Well, patch your system, and like every so often, probably like, I don't know, like every 6 months, I blow away computers. I just erase computers securely. Oh, that's by default on Mac these days, I think. Anyway, all right, take care, folks.